Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to How to Utilize API Exchange to Work with Financial Institutions in Singapore webinar. I am your moderator today. My name is Betty San Lucas, the Investment Director in Austrade, Singapore. In today's webinar, we are going to have 4 distinguished speakers who is going to share with you why partnering with APIX is a great opportunity for you to access to Singapore and financial institutions. First, let's welcome Mr. Supnando Mahathir, the Chief FinTech Officer from Monetary Authority of Singapore, to give us a welcome note.
I want to welcome Austrade to the Singapore FinTech Festival. I want to thank for being a good partner to the API Exchange platform. I'm quite delighted to know the number of FinTech participating at the SFF is a huge contingent, I believe a huge contingent there. And I hope at the festival you find partners, you're able to engage with our ecosystem here, able to meet investors, prospective clients. We at Singapore FinTech Festival do make a lot of effort so that you get a lot of value while you engage with us. Beyond that, your partnership with the API Exchange platform will truly take us together to the next level. Through the platform, you not only can talk to your client, show them your product through our sandbox platform, through our hackathons, and we are also launching a new product called CheckFin, which is a trust-based platform which allows FinTechs to build credibility about themselves so that when they engage their customer, they can have a much better and stronger relationship in terms of closing commercial deals. So with all this excitement and all this opportunity, I hope our partnership becomes stronger and Singapore's ecosystem and the Australian ecosystem can come together and truly build a huge, meaningful, and truly impactful and Asian FinTech ecosystem. Again, thanks for joining us at the SFF 2021.
Thank you, Supnando. And now let me pass the floor to Mr. Stephen Scully, the Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner in Austrade, Singapore, to share with us some of the high-level inputs on how Austrade is working to bridge the gap between Australia and Singapore's fintech ecosystem.
My name is Stephen Scully, and I am Austrade's Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner in Singapore. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this webinar. At Austrade, we help Australian businesses connect to the world and the world to connect with Australian businesses. Australia's fintech ecosystem is home to more than 500 homegrown fintechs and more than 200 international fintechs that have set up in Australia. This outward facing of Australian fintechs is illustrated by the fact that more than 40% of them have international operations. This was confirmed in a recent survey where 88% of Australian fintech respondents hope to identify business leads and partnership opportunities at the upcoming Singapore FinTech Festival. To assist Australian fintechs to enter the Singapore market, Austrade is proud to collaborate with API Exchange in order to share how to utilise their services. Lastly, as many of you have your digital pass to the upcoming Singapore FinTech Festival, Austrade will have a strong virtual presence at the event. Please pop into our Australian pavilion and say hi to the team. We hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you.
Now let me pass the floor to Mr. Manish Diwan, the Managing Director at APIX. Manish will share with you what is APIX and why it is a great place to connect and collaborate with the financial institutions in Singapore. He will also share with you some of the practical examples and case studies. Manish, over to you.
Thanks, Betty. Thanks, Stephen, for your kind words. My name is Manish Diwan. I'm the Managing Director for AFIN, and how we will run it today is that I will share a brief presentation on what we do, and then I will hand it over to my colleague Prem. Prem is the CEO at AFIN, and he will take you through a tech demo of the platform, and in between We will take you through some of the use cases and what people have been doing, and then the floor will be open for any Q&As that you may have. So if I can just let me know if you are able to see my screen. Okay, so the reason why APIX exists today is because of this very primary challenge that we are trying to solve for, and that is the collaboration between financial institution and fintech is mostly a painful and very ineffective legacy drawn process as of today. It takes 12 to 18 months before anything can fructify between uh, these two entities, the financial institution and the fintech, and there are multiple reasons, some very valid reasons, some not so valid reasons why it takes so much of time. The primary reason being, for a financial institution, it's very difficult to find a credible fintech because fintechs are mostly new and they don't really know whom they should partner with and whom they should not. On the fintech side, it's very difficult for them to go and meet every financial institution in their target. It's just not possible. If you were to go and talk to every bank in ASEAN, you would probably spend 10 years doing that, right? So that is where APIX comes into play. We are set up to solve for this collaboration challenge. Our mission is to transform people's life by engaging with financial institutions so that they can find innovative solutions. To simplify collaboration and digital innovation, we help financial institutions find the right solution providers and overall improve dramatically the time to market and improve and benefit the entire ecosystem. Sorry. APIX is primarily an idea to implementation framework. It addresses all the aspects that are there as part of your innovation journey, right from the ideation phase to actual implementation. And these are the 5 blocks that we live with in our APIX life. And these would depend. Our support in any of these blocks would be largely dependent on the type of financial institution that we are trying to work with. Because every financial institution does not need support in all aspects. Some do need and some don't. We play our roles as and when required. We help financial institutions if they're very small. We help them define opportunity or the problem statement. Largely as a platform, we help discover solution providers. This is done in 2 different ways, either by marketplace of APIX, where we have close to about we have more than 1,000 fintechs now, or through our Hackolysium, which is the hackathon proposition that we have very successfully launched about 18 months back, and hosted quite a number of hackathons on that one, which democratizes the way how you discover solutions. On the dry run side, APIX at its heart is a sandbox. We started a journey with a single sandbox, and now we are proud to host not 1 but 3 different sandboxes, all targeted at different solutioning requirements. Primarily a retail bank focused sandbox, a digital currency sandbox, and a responsible AI sandbox, which we have launched very recently in the last quarter. We help financial institutions decide, solve for the critical problem of whom do you want to work with and whom you cannot. We are launching in about a week's time what we call as one of our most ambitious projects, the FinTech program, which is being launched in association and partnership with Boston Consulting and Affinity, which is a Temasek Group company, which will essentially solve for this very key pre-procurement challenge of which fintech, what data about that fintech that you can utilize to make an informed decision as a first cut, whether you want to can work or cannot work with a particular fintech. And we are coming with close to about 1,000 plus fintechs on that database to start with. BCG data is close to about 25,000 fintechs from across the world. And finally, the deployment. This was a missing piece in our arsenal for the longest time. Today, when you create a solution on the APIX sandbox, we found that a lot of institutions are coming back and saying that, how do I productionize it? Productionizing it takes another 6 months. Can you help us do it faster? So that is where we brought in what we call as a digital twin. This essentially replicates the core bank of the core bank system of the bank, and eliminates the need for the bank to do any big development work on their core bank. Use this twin as kind of a middleware messaging system which sits on top of the core bank and helps you productionize your solutions very quickly without having to make any major changes. Our product suite, some of which I captured in the previous slide, the APIX API marketplace. You search through thousands of fintechs across multiple categories. We now host fintechs from almost 80 plus countries now. APIX Hackolysium, it's a completely DIY module to host virtual hackathons, something very popular. It's a key marquee product. We have launched hackathons right from BIS G20 to UNCDF, to Bank of New York, to Prudential, to National Payment Council of India, to name a few. APIX Oxygen, the action will shift to APIX Oxygen all through next week during the Singapore FinTech Festival, and we are proud to announce that the Oxygen platform is now fully integrated into the larger SFF ecosystem. So what you will see in the first 3 days at SFF will move lock, stock and barrel for the next 2 days, day 4 and 5, onto the APIX Oxygen platform. So all 5 days, 3 days on the SFF platform, 2 days on the Oxygen platform. Plus, we have also launched a certification program with NUS, with SUSS, and Digital Filipinas for those who are interested to join. Can pay a small fee and get a certification in Web 3.0 from NUS or any of the other accredited colleges. On the APIX sandbox, I mentioned this is the heart and soul of what we do, including the retail bank focused sandbox, the digital currency sandbox, and the responsible AI sandbox. The digital twin, we already talked about it. Another very critical part that we will be launching during SFF is the APIX prefab solution, largely focused on very small or mid-tier banks who find it extremely difficult to go digital on their own. It requires a lot of effort for any bank to go digital. What we are trying to do is that APIX has all these hundreds and thousands of fintechs. We are working with some select fintechs to create ready-to-use business processes which any bank can take as is, and they are ready to go live without having to worry about reaching out to 5 different fintechs to do 5 steps of a particular digital transformation, digital business process, and ready to use plug and play model, which we think has a huge opportunity for any small or mid-tier bank. CheckFin, we already talked about it. It's verifiable information about any fintech in our database, which will completely transform the way your procurement managers, your IT managers, your retail asset managers are currently looking at working on new partnerships with any fintech across the globe. Some of our key use cases, we have had close to about 60-70 financial institutions on the platform. Like I mentioned, 1,000 plus fintechs from 50 plus categories, sandboxes, real database, ready to use APIs. We have some of our key success stories that we have seen over the past few since we have been around. We have helped a very small rural bank in Philippines go digital in a matter of months, which they've been struggling to do for years. We help banks go digital, create new solutions in a matter of days and not months, as we all know from our own real experiences. On the hackathon front, we have hosted close to about 20 plus hackathons so far. Very large niche hackathons. These are not run-of-the-mill hackathons, and hosting close to about 2,000 plus fintechs who have participated, 1,000 plus proposals sent, hundreds of problem statements solved for. And APIX is not just the platform. I think it is more importantly an ecosystem that we have created over the last 24 to 36 months. It's run as a not-for-profit entity by ASEAN Financial Innovation Network. which is founded by ASEAN Bankers Association, IFC World Bank, and Monetary Authority of Singapore. So we come from a genesis of policymakers, regulators, and as a not-for-profit, uh, it's our endeavor to help support to grow the overall ecosystem and the community. We are ably supported by our corporate founders, AMTD, Mastercard, and Nityo, and our tech partners include Percipient and Brancas. We also run what we call as a strategic advisory council, and you see some of the biggest names: AMTD, AWS, Experian, Bank of New York, Singapore FinTech Association, Mastercard, etc. are our advisory council members. We also understand the need of creating better infrastructure for running your innovation journey, and that's where we are partnered with AWS Equinix, which is one of the world's largest data center provider, in-premise data center providers for banks across the world, to help us do that. We also have close to about 25 plus fintech associations who work very, very closely with us. Incidentally, for some reason, we don't have any Australian association with us, and I'm looking forward for Austrade to help us do that, to reach out to the fintech associations in Australia to work and engage with them. Our total engagement today with the fintech community across the world is close to about 6,000 fintechs. And how does an institution benefit when they work with APIX? The cost of infrastructure is almost 10%. Any bank who wants to run an innovation lab on cloud would be spending close to about $1 million plus. You could do it at 1/10 the cost on APIX. The frequency innovation is unlimited. It's not limited to, you can do these many APIs, you can only talk to these many banks, you can only talk to these many fintechs. That's not the case here. You can try new business model. It's a fail-safe environment. You can try as many innovation POCs that you want to do as many number of times with as many number of fintechs. It's not restricted at all. The resource consumption is minimal because we take care of all the NDAs, documentation, infrastructure creation, data sets, etc. out of box for every member of the platform. The speed to market is in weeks. You can focus on client experience, and we can together accelerate the digitization. As a fintech, some very key benefits. We help you build your profile, access to global fintech community, cost optimization and global outreach, because you work as an ecosystem, so you operate as an ecosystem. We help you publish your APIs for other financial institutions and fintechs to test, try, and create and grow your own network. APIX provides data sets comprising of 1,000 customer base, 10,000 transactions, free for use, built on a live core banking system, 62 APIs out of box, so you don't have to worry about whether your product that you are trying to build will actually operate in the real world or not. You can come to APIX, use the APIX twin APIs, all 62 of them, free of cost, without having to pay anything additional, and use them for your benefit. And then, most critically, the sandbox, where you can test and try new products and services. And that would be all on my presentation. If there are any questions that I can take for you, happy to do that, or we can pass on to Prem and come back for a Q&A.
Maybe let's pass to Prem first, and we'll take the Q&A after that.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Prem, and I'm going to take you through the platform. Now, everything that Manish said and did on the PPT is theoretical, but the fun of this is when you really watch it. And I would like to show you how this full platform works. So the way to get onto the platform is apixplatform.com, as simple as all that. It gets launched, and then you can do registration over here. But since I'm already a member, I'll go in and show you. So basically, on the landing page, we provide you all the kind of grants, etc., that we are running, and all the marketing, that the latest collaborations that we are doing, with which the fintech is able to actually get some benefits. So we talked about this Equinix, which is the largest infrastructure provider in the world, in Prem. What this does is it gets you a discounted rate of hosting your application on in-prem infrastructure. What that means is that actually you're born on the cloud using as a fintech, but you actually grow up on the in-prem because you are just sitting next to the bank, and you have the facility of using Equinix fabric to communicate to the bank. So all the perceived threats of the internet is actually removed, and you could be doing it on a private network within the Equinix platform. And that's the great USP for fintechs to break the ice with banks to say, okay, we are just next to you and we are within the network. We also have AWS on the platform, which is giving $25,000 of credit, which is promotional to the fintechs who become members of ours. You can go through the platform without logging in and get to know how many members, solutions, etc. There are. And of course, if you're a member, once you log in, which is very simple, you can do a SSO, and I will get in through my SSO. And here I am. As you land up on the page, again, there is a summary of what's available. So all the APIs, which is our core offering. And then there are solutions where people provide their end-to-end solutions in clickable formats. And the next thing that we are bringing in to be able to host SDKs, which can then be run for end-to-end solutions. Then you have problem statements, which is what the banks will put in, and there are various inventories on the financial institution, etc. And the number of fintechs which are there, and system integrators who can help fintechs and banks to come together, and of course our largest growing membership of hackathon participants. Now, another way to get to do this is through the marketplace. And how is the platform used? And Manish did mention it a while back. The financial institutions are coming over here and looking for fintechs or looking for APIs that they can use. So what happens is, for a financial institution to come in, they will come in and they will click on the fintech, and they will be able to then run a search based on the classification that they are looking at. And the classification could be any one of these items. Like, let's take the hottest and the greatest, which is happening all across the world, is KYC. Everybody is automating. People need KYC solutions. So when you look at KYC, the bank looks for KYC. Now you get 55 fintechs over here who are dealing in KYC. So this is the discovery process where the people are able to look at the fintech, and they are able to see how many are there. So you can see, can go on to the next one and next one, and you can pick up something that you really like. So I want to look at Data Zoo. Let me look at it. I can go to the site. I can send a message to the fintech to say, okay, after I've gone through it, I want to communicate with him. I could be sending a message. It also gives us the longevity of since when the fintech has been abroad. So it gives you all the details over here, and this is getting further enhanced. So you want to know whether they are working in your area. So yes, they are providing this thing on Australia. So a financial institution based in looking for a fintech, they're interested in this guy, so they go further down. They can read about the fintech, and at the bottom of it is what we are about, which is the APIX APIs. So we have 3 APIs over here, which then we could click and we could see what the API does. So I always like to call this a platform between Amazon and the LinkedIn and the Spotify, because of the basic idea is that like LinkedIn, you are able to sell yourself over here. Like an Amazon, you're able to show the product. And when we go to the sandbox, I'll show you, like Spotify, you're able to continue your work, or you can have your playlist and you can have your APIs and you can use it later. Now, the good part about this whole platform is, like Amazon, you can go and look for a product. You want to buy a jacket, you can change the color, you can change the size, fit, etc. But you can't really feel the material, or you can't see how it looks. But over here, you can actually, the API that you're looking for, you can actually try it out. So let's try that. So within KYC, we will go to a specific item, which is known as a face match. And basically, during onboarding process, the face match is something that everybody is doing. You upload a document of yours, ID document, take a selfie, and the KYC is done by matching these 2 things. And so we have 8 APIs on the platform. Let me look at this first one. So we'll try it out. This is what I'm saying is the USP of our platform. I can try it out and I can click here, post. I need to get I need to say try out over here, and I go and pick up a file, which is I go and pick up data on the platform. So I've got some data kept over here. Let me go and just pick that up. I've got a demo file here, and I've got a person's ID, which is the local car, NRIC, and then I've got his selfie also. So let me go and pick up his selfie. There's a difference between the two because it's he's younger when he got the ID. I now put the kind of stuff that I want to do, which is an ID. Now this particular fintech has said that, if you want to use my API, you need to pick up some keys from me. I've already done that ahead of time. So I'll go and pick up an app ID that he has provided me. I'll take it here and I need to paste it on the app ID. And then I need to put an app key, which also I have. So I'll pick it up from here and bring it down here. The APIX platform also creates a token. So I'll go click the token, copy it, and put it here. So now the host knows that this is from a trusted platform, and I execute. So going all the way to their host, and it's hitting them, and comes back by saying that we are 99% match. You don't need to review it, and it's a success. Now, as a financial institution, I've seen this, I like it, and now I want to, probably talk to this fintech and ask him to do some extra work with me. So in this case, what will happen is I showed you a communicator. I will send him a message. The fintech will get a message on this bell, and then the fintech can get in touch with the FI, and we can go ahead and do a POC. Now, in the real world, what happens is that the POC, the fintech will be told, okay, you go and meet our IT department, and the IT department will say, here is 50 checkpoint. You go adhere to this and come back. And now the fintech is gone, and he's trying to comply with all the security compliance that is required, which is maybe a few weeks down the line, he's lost. Now, in this case, we have cut the entire chase. We are providing you a free sandbox over here. It's free for our members, free for the FI, both of them. And this sandbox is about just clicking it up. And we've got 3 sandboxes over here. One is a standard sandbox. One is the standard sandbox comes with APIs, which are there on the platform. Plus, it has 72 endpoints or 7 APIs, which provide 72 endpoints for a core banking. So everything that you want to do for a core banking is available over here. And we've got 10,000 records, 1,000 customers that can be used. You're free to use any API on the platform. And all you need to do is just click over here and a sandbox gets created for you. Takes a moment. The sandbox is specially created for the fintech who's using this. And it's a Linux environment at the back, having 4 GB RAM and up to 200 GB of data you can keep. You can also request for more data to come in, and all the APIs that I subscribed or I use Data Zoo, it's over here. I do Face Match, it is over here. So these APIs have already come over here. All I need to do is now open a terminal and I can start my programming. I can also go outside externally and go and get any program of mine which is stored on any other on my servers, for my company servers, and I can bring it on the platform and integrate with any API over here and provide the solution. So in typical case, what happens is the bank will say that, okay, I'm going to give you 3,000 data points. You need to run your API and show it to me. So the fintech will come on the platform, will be able to use the data that the FI has provided, and he'll be able to run his program and show how did this 3,000 work out. So obviously the bank has now put in some dummy records over there, some fake IDs, etc. And then they are able to look at and say, okay, yeah, fine. I mean, yeah, you are good, bad, ugly, or whatever it is. And we want to now do business, or we don't want to do business with you. Also, one more thing that happens is, and that probably I didn't show it, is that when the API is over here, and when I'm looking at the Face Match API, and I go down, I also see that there are 3 more APIs. Okay, let me look at this one. And I go down and I see there are 3 more APIs from 3 other companies. Now, what I do is that I've used the sandbox. I've selected as a FI, I have seen Hyperverge doing it. Now I can be calling these 3 other guys and doing rapid POCs with them. So without going anywhere, without engaging, bothering FinTech asking them to do great presentation, etc. I am from a digital innovation or a transformation team. The person is able to now look at this and he's able to select a couple of people over here. From a FinTech point of view, what happens is that what are FinTechs looking out is for problem statement. So you look at a problem statement which is listed over here. You may again look at it from any particular topic wise. And so if you look at problem statements, there are 5 of these. And then you could be opening it and then saying, what is the problem statement about? And then you can go and there's a lot of stuff given over here, what the problem statement is. And then you can go and you can communicate over here with the bank and say, I am so-and-so, this is the solution I have, this is my PPT, you can add your links, you can upload data over here, and you can introduce him and also tell him that, on the platform, I have these APIs which you can try out. So this is the power of the platform where people come, collaborate seamlessly without getting into hassles, without getting into contracts, MOUs, etc. because we are taking care of all that. So when you become a member and the FI becomes a member, there's a mutual consent between you all to be able to share this platform and to be able to share this ecosystem, to be able to collaborate with each other. Now, this is a process which goes on, and just FYI, we don't go to technology to sell this. This is always bought or used by the innovation team, by the transformation team, which is basically the business. And they are interested in looking at this. And though you cut the chase completely, because in most cases, what feedback we got, and I'm 25 years in Citibank, is that the technologists will understand what you are trying to do and then tell their CEO that, okay, we are going to build this in 6 months, which will eventually happen in 3 years with 4 times or 10 times the cost. So to cut all that chase, the complication, etc., this platform tremendously helps the FinTech, realize his potential very quickly. Now, this is one process which is an ongoing process. The other marquee product that we have is the hackathon. The hackathon is now used by FIs to collect a number of problem statements from their bank, from within their bank, and then host the hackathon. So that's one use case that basically a bank uses. Like, for instance, ProofIngate is doing this, Prudential is doing this. They've got a number of problem statements over here, 3 of them which they want people to handle, and they will select people. The hackathon is done in 3 phases. First, you give a written proposal, a set of people from the bank look at it, and then you are made to come in, and then you are made to code. And when you code, the judges then again come online, are able to see your code on the IDE platform and able to then provide you, grade you. And we've run some massive programs over here. I think one of the most successful our hackathons has been the CBDC challenge. This was cutting edge. MAS handled it. 400 plus proposals finally, where we were thinking we'd get probably 5 from 80 plus countries who submitted the proposals over here. And we are in the final stage of now the coding happening. So this is about the digital currency. MAS has taken its lead in bring a central bank wanting to sponsor and look at what are the solutions available in the market. And these were great partners, Mastercard, Partior, Hyperledger, and Majaloop, R3, and AWS, who provided us the sandboxes to supplement APIX. So we go on, and the success stories are tremendous over here. Our first one was done by the G20. 60 central banks came together to provide a solution, wanted a solution. And that was the first time that we launched this particular program. In a practical sense, and a lot of people go live with it, and that is what Manish was also mentioning the last mile of going live, is that Time Bank, which is a South African bank, completely digital bank, wanted to launch themselves in ASEAN region, and they were supposed to get a license. So what they did is that they launched a hackathon last year during the same period, and they went for a challenge to say they have 4 challenges. Anybody who wins this is going to be able to get an award to contract with them. So they did this. Mambu was their back-end core. They did the hackathon on the platform, selected 3 partners. This concluded in December. By March, they had the license given, and they hit the road running immediately because they had already used the platform, selected the partners, and all they had to do is take it live and make it launch their entire product. So that's how the platform is being used, and it's growing strength to strength. Like we mentioned, the new things which are coming is the CheckFin, which will allow tremendously the procurement process and the comparison of fintechs within a cohort. So the financial institution will be able to, once you're a member, select you and then say, okay, give me a comparison on, let's say, team size, funding, and the longevity of this company in the market. And they will get out of the 25,000 fintechs in the Boston Consulting background, they'll be able to get a compare to say, okay, this is where they stand in each one of these categories. You could be 10th in the resourcing part, you could be second in the funding part, and you could be, some other standing in the last one, which is the longevity. So that will tremendously improve people to use the platform. The other big thing we are bringing in is a credential. So you do a POC or you do a contract with a bank, you can ask them to provide you a credential which says, we vouch that we have done this work. That credential will be created on our platform as a digital wallet. You can keep adding to it. And when you go to your next prospect, you could be sharing that verifiable credential supported by us to say that, yeah, this has been verified and this is a certificate which is genuine. So that goes a big way in getting you to your next prospect. So that's the end of my presentation. Open to questions if there are any.
Thanks very much, Prime. It is really a detailed demo. Thanks very much. And I do have some questions in the Q&A session. So maybe to start with, I guess the Australian fintechs are very interested to know, is the platform free of charge? What is the membership fee and how can they be part of the members?
So let me take that. So for any fintech up to Series B funding, the platform is free to use. But if the fintech is bigger, larger, like I said, we are a not-for-profit entity, so we depend on membership contributions from our large partners, and that could be discussed on a case-to-case basis.
Sure. And I also have a question from a bank. So the banks in the audience is asking, so how can bank working with APIX to run a hackathon or to access the platform as a financial institution?
So the whole APIX platform is built around a financial institution as a persona. Whatever that we have built is to support the innovation journey of a bank, because we know that running an innovation center or running an innovation experiment in a bank is a fairly complicated process. Similarly, what we have done is that to join the APIX platform, it's a very simple onboarding process for any financial institution. We do expect commercial contribution. Normally, our commercial structure is 25,000 USD for a 6-month period, which comes with complete access to the platform, plus one hackathon event that you can host, a DIY hackathon event that you can host. Alternatively, you could also, if you have more number of problem statements that you need to solve for, we could look at a 6-month period, 12-month period that comes to 60,000 USD for the year, and has 3 DIY hackathons built into it and complete access to the platform. How we recommend that any participant, any member uses their membership on the platform is to start with the hackathon, identify the solutions that they want to work with, and then spend their membership period actually building that solution. So you start from discovering the solution via hackathon, and then spend 3, 4, 5 months, cleaning that up and customizing this to build your own solution, which you can then port out using a GitHub account simply to your production environment. And if you choose to use the private twin, see, the public twin is available for everybody to use free of cost. If you want to use a private twin built specifically to your requirement, that is a separate commercial conversation.
Sure. Thanks very much, Manish. And due to the time constraint, maybe I will take the last question. So the last question is that FinTech has been one of the FinTech companies asking, so how do they get to know that there is a hackathon running, or how can they be informed? Do they have to be a member to in order to
No,
get?
you don't need to be a member. One does not need to be a member as long as you're following us on LinkedIn or any of those social channels. If you're with any of the associations, I hope we become partners with the FinTechs associations in Australia as well soon. You will be informed of the hackathons that we run. But I would invite all of you to join us. It's pretty much, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes, sure.
And if during the hackathon, if you qualify for the last round, then you automatically get free membership on the platform, because you need to come onto the platform to get that solution.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Prem, and thank you, Manish. I guess that concludes our session of the day. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for our panelists. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.